Welcome to Legendary Exits, conversations with purpose-driven entrepreneurs. In this series, we sit down with the leaders and legends who turned their exits into opportunities for impact. We explore living lives of significance, leveraging exits to fund personal and financial goals, and building a best-in-class business along the way. You ready? Let's dive in.
Hey, I'm Micah Brandenburg, your host. It's so great to be with Chris Smith, the founder of the Profitability Company today. We're going to have an amazing conversation around brand differentiation. And Chris, it is an honor to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, man. Stoked to be here and talk about brand.
I am looking forward to it. Hey, before we get started, do you want to just share with folks what you do at the Profitability Company? How did you go? I think when we connected back in April, you told me you started in commercial real estate and there was maybe some financial advisory in there. I might have that wrong, but how did you go from there to what you're doing today?
Yeah, I would say, in sixth grade at the year-end school assembly, I got the award at the end of the year for least likely to be found in my seat.
Okay.
That was the award the teacher gave me.
Little jittery. If you will.
It was because I was always up telling stories and like talking and, I was a pretty good student, but I definitely would get in trouble for talking too much. And so I've always loved story and articulation. And I was the kind of kid, even when I was little, like I loved when I was little getting asked to talk in church, which that terrifies most people. But I was like, no, I want to talk. I want to share my ideas. I want to share my voice and, probably love to hear myself talk. And so I was never afraid to talk. I was never afraid to share my ideas. And then my first real career was commercial real estate, simply because I saw a friend of mine who I was like, wait, you didn't go sell real estate and like make that kind of money? And so it was not like purpose driven by any means or identity led. It was just like, I can make a lot of money. So I went into commercial real estate. And that was the first time it dawned on me, though, the power of your ability to articulate and stand out through story and a narrative, because I didn't know anything about commercial real estate.
Okay.
And yet I quickly became one of the top producers in commercial real estate.
And
I was
why
like,
is that?
I was like, well, yeah, so clearly it's the same thing. And a lot of the brokers in my office were asking me the same thing. They're like, dude, you look like you're 14. I was in my early 20s. You have no credibility. I never once read in 5 years of commercial real estate, I never once read a vacancy report. I tried one time and couldn't get through it. Like, it was so boring.
Got it.
So even I was like, well, yeah, why am I able to produce at this level when people know way more than me? And it's like, the fact that I didn't know that much about commercial real estate ended up being one of my greatest strengths, because I had to connect with people.
Yes.
And then these other brokers in our office were trying to talk way too much about things that people, quite frankly, just didn't care about.
You didn't have the curse of knowledge where so many of us go so deep technically.
Totally.
Yeah, keep going.
My naivety and ignorance was actually like a real gift and a blessing. And I started picking up on that towards the end of commercial real estate. I started thinking like, oh, there's something unique about this. And then a buddy of mine who was in the financial planning, wealth management space, which I knew nothing about, he started trying to recruit me to come into that space because he saw that I was good at building relationships. He saw that I was good at bringing in business. And he's like, man, that's something historically our industry is not very good at. Our firm is not good at it. We're really great at taking care of our clients once we have them.
Yeah.
But we're not really great at going out and telling our story and being bold and differentiating ourselves. And over time, I started seeing some possibilities in his industry and with him and their firm, and saw that, wow, you could really do some profound things. And it wasn't as transactional as commercial real estate for me. So made a big decision, changed careers, and right away started having success, kind of like I did in commercial real estate. I didn't know anything about the industry. I didn't know any of the industry terminology. I didn't know anything about asset allocation or risk management or anything. And yet I became one of the top producing advisors in the office, was bringing in more assets than anyone. And so I saw again, I was like, wait, two different industries now. There's really something to this, your ability to stand out and differentiate yourself through your ability to connect with people, and he or she who tells the best story wins. Like, although there were people in the firm who knew more than me, I told a better story. I knew how to articulate our brand. And that's when it really dawned on me, Micah, like, oh, there's something to this. And so I was able to help our firm with it. So in commercial real estate, I always just did it for myself. With wealth management, our firm merged with another firm, and there was a bit of an identity crisis. Like, okay, we have these two brands coming together. I just volunteered and said, hey, could I help with this? And they were like, man, for sure. So that was the first time I really got to be intentional about, what is our brand? What are we known for? Like, what is our identity beyond our industry? And then how do we teach everyone in the firm how to articulate that? So we did that. Within 2 years, we were bringing in
identity beyond your industry.
Yeah.
That was the phrase you just used. Riff on that for a minute.
Yeah. I mean, this is the core. This is the core thing that we share with every company. You know, we primarily serve financial advisors, wealth management firms, but we also serve a lot of service-based businesses. The very first place we start with is with identity, which is the last place most businesses think to start. And we tell everyone you have to create an identity that's bigger than your industry. Because if the identity you create is only about your industry, well, then you've inadvertently made yourself look and sound like everyone else in your industry, which is the thing you want to do the least of. So a lot of businesses inadvertently commoditize themselves because they make it all about their industry. Well, no, you're trying to create an identity that's actually bigger than your industry.
Got it.
So the industry is what you do, which is great, but your identity is who you are. And if you can see those two really clearly and how they come together, like this is what we do, but this is who we are, that's actually something that can scale. That's actually something that can be differentiated. And it's something that people can feel like they're part of.
Yeah, I love it. I want to go into that. Unless you've got more to tell me about how you got where you got to today.
No, that's great.
Let's roll. So it's clear that you're really passionate about this concept of identity. Maybe it's associated with branding, but let's get rid of that term identity. You talked about having an identity that's bigger than your industry. And you talked about, okay, industry is what you do, but then you get some bigger piece. Give us an example of that. Maybe it's a client you currently work with. Maybe it's for your own company. One, compare and contrast those two things. And then two, how did you get the client there? What is the journey of actually discovering that for your company?
So the first thing I would say is as individuals, human beings, and as companies, you will never outperform your identity. Your identity is your lid.
Okay.
Same thing as a human being. Like if I have an identity, Micah, that, man, I don't matter that much. I'm not enough. I'm kind of an imposter. Like I'm not a great husband. I'm not a great father. I'm not a great entrepreneur. No matter how hard I try to go out and fake it, no matter how hard I try to go out and like outwork that identity, I'll always hit up against that lid.
Okay.
So if I can expand my identity and be like, well, maybe I am enough. Maybe I do matter. Maybe I do have purpose. Then my performance rises in my identity, and then I keep increasing my identity, and thus my performance keeps growing. Same thing as a company.
Yes.
It's like the identity of the company is its lid. So if we can expand that identity, tell people see that it's bigger than it actually is, then they can grow into that. And we're always like, as companies and as individuals, we're always working on performance. Like we're always working on our skills.
Yes.
But I would argue that a lot of times we don't have an identity big enough to even contain those skills anyways.
Yeah. I'm right with you, because one of my beliefs is that we act out of belief, right? We think and we have certain things internally and we're acting out of it, whether we know it or not. So I agree with you on this point. You sort of given us the philosophy or the theory on it. Like, take us through, well, what does that look like though? So with somebody who's in wealth advisor, because I know you said you work with wealth advisors.
So I'll give you an example. Financial advisor we worked with recently came to us, and we asked these really confronting questions of every client we work with. So no matter what kind of, no matter what path you go down as far as our coaching programs, we have a couple different coaching programs, we're always going to start with identity. And it starts with a couple confronting questions. One is, what do you want to be known for? And it has to be beyond your industry.
Is this a personal question or is this a firm level question, or both?
Both.
Okay.
We start with the firm and then we get to the individual. And what's interesting, you ask a lot of financial advisors, wealth management firms, like, what do you want to be known for? Dude, you start hearing comprehensive, holistic, integrate, like all the buzzwords. And we always go like, no,
fee-based.
Yeah. You were like, well, one time I heard an advisor goes, we want to be known for comprehensive, integrated, holistic, multidisciplinary. And I was like, dude, stop. No, you don't. I promise you don't want to be known for that. Because if you're known for that, you're known for nothing. You're like everyone else. And they're like, oh, you're right. So it's no
one will even remember all of those.
And no one cares.
Combined terms. So
no one even knows what you're talking about. So it's like, what do you want to be known for that's actually bigger than the industry? Another thing we ask is, what do you want to be the best in the world at? That's a confronting question, because a lot of people shy away, like, oh, I could never be the best in the world at something. They think that's making it about them, like it's like egotistical. And it's like, no. You being the best in the world at something and being known for something, that's actually in service to the people that you want to make a difference for.
Yeah.
Like, so easy example, really successful advisor, works with a really large firm, came to us and he was like, man, I want to help. He's like, I work with a lot of already really successful families and business owners. They've already achieved success, but I think they're looking for something more, but I just don't know how to say that. And so what we helped him realize is that his identity is helping already successful families now create a level of significance that's equal to their success.
Yes.
And he had this huge unlock around significance. And he's like, dude, that's it. That's what I'm about. That's my identity. Like, that's what I want to be known for. Well, we helped him develop that. One of our coaches, his very next event that he goes to, it was a business owner event, and he was one of the sponsors there. He shares that with an estate planning attorney and a couple of wealthy families. All three of them want to have meetings with him because all three of them, because they're like, hey, Matt, what do you do? And he's like, well, man, what I'm really known for is helping already successful individuals and families create a level of significance that's as great, if not greater than their level of success. And he goes, the first three people I say it to, like, that's what I'm looking for. And he goes, yeah, you know, a lot of times people check the success box. It's not that they don't want to be more successful. They just know there's something beyond the success. And now that they want this phase of their life is significance. So that's just one example. So how that gets phrased into some messaging, though, like if you go on his website, he'll say, empowering already successful families to be even more successful is what we do. Helping them create a level of significance is who we are. And so it's like, there's nothing wrong with what you do. You want to like take pride in that, like play off of that, but it's also this identity. And then now Micah with his team, Matt can also go, and how do we live that ourselves? Like, how can I help each of my team members create a greater life of significance in their own lives?
Grid us through that definition again, what we do, who we are in that specific client example. You rattled it off. Would you share it with us one more time, the difference between what we do and who we are?
Helping already successful families achieve even more success is what we do. Helping them create and live a life of significance is who we are.
Yeah.
So like, Micah, if you had to answer what you do with your company, what would you say? Like, I mean, just
I would say
straightforward.
We work with owners who want to exit in the next 5 years, but who don't yet have a plan crafted to do so.
Okay. So we help business owners create a really clear plan of how they're going to exit in the next 5 years.
Yes.
What's the significance part of it for you? Like, what's the identity that's bigger than just like...
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually use the word life of significance as part of what is a legendary exit. And to me, that stems back from, I'll just chime in for 60 seconds on my own story. I lived the first 37 years of my life for success, which was really about two things in the family I grew up in terms of what I learned: accumulating a lot of money and curating the opinions of other people about yourself. And what I learned by the age of 37 was that those were terrible masters. And so, you know, I came to a crisis of thought at that point, and even in my own marriage, and I shared this with you previously, that really radically led me to rethink, what is life about? And that really led me to say, what does a life of significance look like? And for me personally, you know, that's a life where I'm living in alignment with my own personal values, my purpose of why I believe I'm here on this earth. And thirdly, leaning into the uniqueness in terms of the gifts I've been given and the skills I've cultivated in my life. And so for me, that was a catalyst for rethinking a lot of that. But in terms of why we do this, you know, why we do the Legendary Exits business, because we could be doing a lot of different things. It's really because of the impact that we want to have in society through entrepreneurs, if I can put it that way. We believe that entrepreneurs have a unique opportunity to impact their employees and their customers in a way that nobody else does.
That's awesome. Which, by the way, everyone's listening is going to think we staged this with the life that I used as an example of significance. Like that's crazy. Wow. So, like in the example of your company, I would say, yeah, helping business owners achieve a legendary exit is, or helping business owners experience a legendary exit is what we do.
Yes.
But helping them create a life of significance because of that exit is really who we are.
Yes. Yeah.
And when we say life of significance, the way we define that is they live a life that's full of alignment, full of purpose, and full of them experiencing and using their unique gifts.
I love it. I love it. I want to keep riffing on this thread, but I want to sort of address the skeptic who's listening to this conversation, who really to this point, as they're thinking about growth, whether they're a wealth advisor, whether they're one of our clients. I know you guys work with wealth advisors, dentists, and other sorts of companies, but whether they're one of our clients, it's a privately held, you know, business, and they're saying, yeah, but I just want to grow. I just need more leads coming in. I just need more revenue. You know, isn't this just sort of one of these exercises that happens on quarterly or annual strategy day and we all feel great about it? Like, walk us through the practical impact why do you believe so strongly around identity? Like if you had to cut all the way to the solution, all the way to the outcome, how does having a clear brand identity really come to benefit, companies?
Yeah, I mean, well, and we have had plenty of skeptics over the years be like, oh yeah, that's great. That sounds good. It makes people feel good. It's kind of woo-woo, kind of cute, kind of fluffy. But like, let's get to the stuff that really matters.
Yes.
But then you look at actually like really sustainable companies, like really sustainable brands that it'd be really hard to deny. They all have this. So it's like, so a lot of times people like who have, like have built a successful business, right? $5-10 million business, but they're like, oh, I don't need identity. I need growth. And then I'll point to a brand like In-N-Out Burger, Starbucks, Patagonia. And I go through examples of like how they have a really clear identity that's bigger than their industry. And they're all like, oh, so it's like, it's easy to throw stones at it. Like it's that it's fluffy. And it's like, no, it's like, it's the only thing that actually, if you really truly want to create a sustainable business that can scale beyond you, is has to have an identity that's big enough for it to scale into. Like In-N-Out Burger, for example. I love In-N-Out Burger for so many reasons. One, we love their product as a family.
Sure.
But I love their brand and what they represent, what they stand for. And they've created this identity and they've never strayed from it. Like as much as any brand I've ever seen, do you know how many offers they get to go, like people to take them public, people that want them to franchise?
No.
Yeah. So In-N-Out doesn't have a single franchise.
Okay.
Corporate owned to this
or corporate owned.
Yeah. Never have sold a franchise. So they never will. Obviously not publicly traded. And like one of the most profitable per location fast food restaurants in all of, the world. Highest CEO rating. Some of the highest customer feedback scores. Like you could just go on and on and on and on. And it's like, and it's because they've never strayed from their identity of who they are. And they see themselves as like, we're way bigger than just a burger like place. We're way bigger than a fast food chain. The other thing I really respect about brands that are clear on their identity is I think one of the biggest things we get in trouble with, Micah, as entrepreneurs and businesses is we try to do too much too soon. Okay. We try to go too wide and have too many different offerings. And I love this idea of like, have you earned the right yet to scale? And have you earned the right to add another thing before you've even become great at the one thing that you say you're about and that you're known for in your identity? So in the spirit of growth too, it's like the biggest mistake I see most privately held businesses still making in smaller companies is they're trying to grow way too fast by trying to do way too many things. And I almost sometimes like, you haven't earned the right to add another thing. You're not even great at the thing you started doing.
Is just colloquially, is the thing that they're doing too much of, too many product and service offerings, too many channels in marketing? Just practically, what is it that you see?
Most often just too many products and offerings.
Got it. So it's on the awkward side of the house.
Yeah. Like we talked with a company recently who was adding a bunch of new products and offerings and like having a hard time keeping up with them themselves. And Starbucks came to mind and I was just like, asked the founders, I'm like, hey, just out of curiosity, do you know when Starbucks added food to their menu? They started as coffee. How many years? They're like, 7, 4, 9.
Yeah, 30, that's probably 20, 25 years. I would take
33 years.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? Like, yeah. And do you think they'd earned the right to add food to their menu after 33 years? Like In-N-Out Burger stayed in one geographical location for 40 years. It's easy to now see them all over the country and be like, oh, they've always operated that way. It's like, no, it's like they took a stand for something. They went really deep. Another one on this that people want to throw at me all the time is like, well, look at Tony Robbins. He has like 77 businesses. And I'm like, and guess what he did for 10 years? One thing. And he earned the right.
Like, he's a household name. People know who Tony Robbins are.
And so anyways, I just think that idea when we're thinking about growth and identity, it's like most people aren't willing to pay the price and go deep enough, long enough in something to create that identity to then have the ability to really scale and go wide. And I've certainly done that myself. It's like, well, I just want to do it all right now.
Yes. I want to take this idea and I want to go and I want to talk about pricing in particular in just a moment. But one of the things that we work with, the thing that's different about what we do is an integrated plan around, an owner's life, their money, and their business. But when we're getting to the business piece, our goal is to transform that company to be a top 25% company in whatever industry that client is in, right? And so one of the measures we're looking at is profit as a percentage of revenue, as you might imagine, right? But what's your number one lever to increase profitability as a percentage of revenue? I have found, as a former CFO, It's always pricing. It's price increases. But I literally had a call today with a new client that we're onboarding, and $15 million professional services company. And they're facing pricing pressures over the last couple of years. I think what you're talking about here around identity, which applies to internal culture and external brand, is really relevant to a company like that that's facing that erosion of margin and pricing pressures. I'm sort of curious, how do you think about the identity work that you do as it pertains to being able to increase prices or charge premium prices? Are there stories of clients that you could sort of share with us along that lines, or how do you even think about that?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, either you have the conviction and the belief and the confidence to charge what it is you believe you're worth, or you don't.
Yeah.
Like, you either have the conviction and the confidence and the belief to, like, we really believe that we are the best in the world at what we do. And if you believe you're the best in the world at what you do, or you're striving to be the best in the world at what you do and earning the right, then
Yes.
with that would come this conviction and this boldness and this leadership in how you price and how you sell. But you can't fool yourself. Like, you can't lie to yourself. Like, this whole, like, oh, I'm going to fake it. It's like, no. Like, part of earning the right is, like, you occur for yourself. So if we,
The opposite to fake it till you make it is be it till you see it. Right?
yeah,
That's the identity centered version. Back to you.
well, yeah. And look, an identity is declarative. Like, a lot of times we're waiting to become something. It's like, no, you declare it and then you live into it authentically and you create it to the best of your ability. But all things being equal, let's take two companies in the exact same industry that for the most part do equally quality work. Like, it would be really, really difficult to distinguish whether it's a product or a service, doesn't matter. And one of those companies occurs for themselves as, yeah, like, we're pretty good at what we do. We're competitive. That's like their identity. And they make it all about the industry. And, like, we're always trying to, like, beat people on price. We're always trying to beat people on, like, the aspects of, like, our technology. You have another exact same company in the same industry who occurs for themselves as, like, yeah, we are just the best in the world at what we do. Like, we are more committed. You will not find another company in our industry that's more committed to your success than we are. And they've spread that throughout the organization, where every member of the organization occurs for themselves as a leader in it and has that, like, level of conviction and confidence. All things being equal, one has a greater identity with more conviction and confidence. It's just like, yeah, who's going to win more business and who's going to have more confidence to raise their prices and, like, be at the top of the market,
Oh, I totally agree with you. Now, there is obviously somewhat of a true reality that I can have a clear identity individually and for my firm, right? But I'm fishing in the wrong market segment. If my pricing is off, right, I can actually sort of just be fishing in the wrong pond. So as you guys think about helping your clients establish that clear brand identity, but then sort of secondly marrying it up with having the right ideal client profile or buyer persona, right? How do you guys work through that with a client to help them understand where that identity is going to actually sing, if I can put it that way?
Yeah, well, the sad reality is that most companies are doing it completely backwards, and they actually let the market dictate who they are instead of allowing who they are to create their market.
Okay.
So most businesses go like, oh, who should we serve? Who should be our client? Where can we make the most money? Where's the most of our market opportunity? And then they, like, kind of, like, back into their identity, which can be really risky, can work sometimes.
Okay.
Versus what we teach is, like, why don't we get really clear in who we are and then put that on, like, a set of glasses, like a lens that we look through. And it's like, well, if this is who we are,
yes,
what groups of people or markets out there are most aligned with that identity? And so instead of it being like, who's our target market? It's like, who do we feel most called to serve knowing who we are? Who do we feel most called to be leaders to? Like, the question, who's our target market, I think is a fundamentally flawed question, because it automatically already has you start looking opportunistically. It has you looking from a place of just money only. And yeah, you might go serve. You know how many businesses we come across that are serving clients that they can't stand, that they don't like, and they're not happy and not fulfilled? Yeah. It's like, but we're making some money. It's like, dude, I'd rather go serve people as clients that I actually really love serving. I really love working with, and it, like, lights my soul on fire every day. Like,
yes,
but I can't get there without identity. So, like, identity becomes the lens that, like, that's how we start with it, Micah, because once you know who you are, now you can disobey it. You can go against your alignment. You can go against your clarity. But once you know who you are, it's like, you can't unsee it. So it's like, now that I know who we are, man, this is the group of people that I feel, most called to serve. This is the message that I feel is most aligned with our brand. This is the sales process that I feel most aligned with who we are. It's like, it becomes that central place of alignment. And look, I'll tell you from personal experience, man, I think one of the most challenging things for me to do as an entrepreneur is to try to operate from a place of alignment more than from a place of opportunity. But I cannot operate from alignment without identity.
Really great thoughts there, really great insights. Hey, as you think about this concept of identity, so it's clear that your take is that most companies are focused on the market first and then reverse engineering. You're saying, no, let's focus on who we are first, individually and as a firm. What do we do and how is it even bigger than the industry? And then let's go find the right customers in the right market segment to serve. I love all of that. What are the key pieces? So one of the things that I always challenge people about when I was a CFO scaling companies is tell me what it's going to take. Don't just tell me what I got to spend to do the next part of the journey. Tell me the full investment to get all of the way to value. So when you guys begin to think about, hey, clients are coming to you because they want to serve better. They want to serve their clients better. They want to be getting more at-bats. They want to be closing the right kind of clients. It starts with the brand identity, but in your opinion, what needs to be there to go all the way to value, if I can put it that way?
Yeah. This is going to sound overly simplistic, but the number one thing that needs to be there is your willingness to say no. Because you're going to get clear, right, on who you are, who you feel called to serve. And then the real test is, can you actually say no, though, to all the other really great opportunities that are not the most aligned opportunity, though? So Principal Steve Jobs came into Jonathan Ivey one day and goes, hey, Jonathan, what have you said no to recently? And Jonathan was like, kind of a weird question. Like, I don't know, Steve. Like, then Steve comes in a week later. Hey, Jonathan, what have you said no to recently? I don't know, Steve. And then Jonathan's like, okay, he's going to come back next week knowing Steve, I'm going to have some things that I've said no to. And he told him, he goes, oh, Steve, I've got some. And he tells him, I've said no to this, 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 and this. And Steve goes, Jonathan, how hard were those things to say no to? And Jonathan's like, wow, not that hard. He goes, yes, you're not saying no. You don't get it yet. When I come in here next week and you can tell me that you've said no to some things that were really amazing, but you said no to them because it was in service to the greater purpose and the vision of what we're creating here, I'll know that you're saying no. So unless your no's are really painful, you're not saying no. And so Jonathan taught this concept like that's, so Steve had this amazing ability that once he got clear on where they were headed, he was like, there is no noise. It's only signal for me. So I think the greatest, like to go from the clarity to then the value, it's not that we can't see it most times. I think a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners can be like, I know this is where I want to go. I know this is what would create lasting value. It's like, can I know my way towards that? Or am I going to yes my way to like never quite get
I like it. I get a follow-up though. What's your decision-making framework for that? Because this is one of my beliefs or one of my mantras. And I say decision-making in business is not good versus evil. It's not black versus white.
Right.
It's better versus best. So there legitimately are good things. So again, somebody's created the North Star clarity on identity that you've talked about. And they're trying to develop this muscle of saying no, which really requires filtering. It's like, this is a good thing, but I'm not going to do it. So what are the other constraints that go into the system for decision-making that would help somebody know that something should be a yes or a no?
Yeah. Well, and I even love so we're big on language, obviously, it's Possibility Company, because so much of what we do is identity and language. This distinction between decision and deciding.
Yes.
Easy to make a decision, much more confronting to decide, because decide has the CID in it, which is side for Latin to kill off.
Okay.
So it's easy to make a decision like, oh, we're going in this market.
Yep.
But to decide would be, we've killed off all of the other options. You know what I mean? Like, it was easy for me to make the decision to get married. But then at some point I had to decide to be married, right? It's like, easy to make the decision to get a gym membership. Much more confronting to decide, right? I'm going to show up. And so, and look, I actually think sometimes, Micah, it's actually necessary to say yes to an opportunity we thought was aligned, ultimately to realize it wasn't. Because look, I don't think alignment happens like this. I don't think it's like, okay, we get really clear aligned and then we go down the straight path and we never stray. I actually think it's more like we cross over it as often as we can because we're going to get out of alignment.
Which really means two things, in my opinion. Thing one, you have to have a rhythm of cadences whereby you're actually stepping back and reflecting on what you're doing and the effectiveness of what you're doing and the alignment.
100%.
right?
Like right after this. So the answer I was going to give you, in 18 minutes, we have our Monday leaders call every Monday for our company.
Cool.
And we review our OS, our operating system. Now, we've nicknamed it Oz. There's wizardry and magic in our operating system. But if you're not on a weekly basis, having a compass, if you will, and a map that makes it really obvious if you've gotten off course or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. And for the longest time, we didn't. For the longest time, we were like directionally correct, I would call it, and could kind of sense we're going in. But dude, it was a lot of feeling. And so now every Monday we have what we call our all-in meeting, which is all hearts, all heads, all hands. And Jonathan, on our team, who he came up with that because when he first came into our company, this was his observation. He goes, Chris, you built something really incredible here. He goes, but you guys are all hearts, very little head and very little hands. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? He goes, you're very inspirational. Your company's very on purpose, very on mission, but no one even really knows directionally with clarity where we're going. We don't know if our hands have contributed in the last week to actually doing what we said we're going to do. Well, so now every week we're reminding ourselves and reinforcing, hey, are we still on the right on path with our hearts, mission, vision, values? Are we still on path with our heads, clarity of our strategy? And are we still on path with our hands, meaning, did we get done what we said we were going to get done? And unless you're keeping score, one of the things I tell leaders all the time now, Mike, is I think whatever your title is, CFO, CRO, CEO, CMO, we actually all have one other title that should be adopted if you're leadership, and it's CRO, Chief Reminding Officer.
Yes.
Dude, I just think it's like, it's one thing to set the vision and drive towards value, like you said, but I've dramatically underestimated the power of repetitive, consistent, just reminding and staying the course. Yeah. That I wished I would have embraced that a lot sooner.
Yes.
To know, like, are we on track? Have we veered? How far have we veered? But like,
I'm going to chime in here and say, part of my bias in business is the number one issue in all of business is people. It's hiring the right people, and it's the recruiting of them and giving them what they need, which I believe is valuing, empowering, and developing. But then the number two issue is strategy, picking what to do because of this. We don't have enough time or resources issue. I actually just want to come out and say it. This is what's become clear to me in this conversation. Brand identity is corporate strategy. If you're trying to figure out what to do for your business, but you don't have a clear identity, you're missing out.
What do you think? I love it. Well, so when you say strategy, we're really, really big on what we create what we call these 3-year growth plans for our clients. Mostly because no one has one. Like the amount of businesses will ask, like, hey, tell me your 3-year detailed growth plan. They're like, I have some ideas of where I want to be in 3 years. We were the same way. We had some ideas of where we wanted to be. And here's why I like 3 years. I don't think a year is long enough, because if you only have a 1-year growth plan, Micah, you try to fit everything that's important into that 1 year because it's the only container for it. And you try to do way too much in a year.
And then you don't achieve 80% of it because you're trying to do too much without the proper resources and intention. Yeah.
I think longer than 3 years, at least for me personally, a lot of our clients, it's hard to wrap my mind around, but 3 years is like, it's long enough to where not everything has to be fit in 1 year, but it's long. So it's long enough to be intentional, but it's still short enough you can win that game. But to your point, we went round and round and round in our own company trying to create a 3-year growth plan and felt really stuck. And then guess what we did? We set it aside, went back to our identity. And then through the clarity of that identity, we were like, well, this is who we are and this is who we serve. And so, I would say that identity is your strategy, and it's at least a gateway into that strategy.
Yeah.
I just kind of look at it like a lens. Like I almost like, and you know what's so funny is, over time, like I've worn contacts and glasses my entire life, so your prescription changes as you get older. If I was wearing the same prescription now that I had when I was a kid, I probably wouldn't be so great. So a lot of times I think this gets fuzzy, and we think it's our strategies off or our marketing's off, and it's actually like, no, our identity's gotten a little bit foggy. So if we can always keep the lenses of our identity clear, we'll see things more clearly in our strategy, our pricing, our branding, our marketing, our sales even.
Yes.
But it's really difficult to remember to do that. It's really difficult to remember to, like, we always got to come back and revisit our identity, at least make sure we're crossing over it occasionally.
I've loved this conversation, Chris. I've got at least 2 more questions before we wrap up. You talked about being passionate about messaging, and we've talked about the what do we do versus who we are. Walk us through, like, just practically, how do you begin? So once you've got that level of clarity on what you do and who you are, how does that apply to things that we've sort of commonly heard about, whether it's an elevator pitch? I'm just in a cocktail hour and people are asking me what I do. And then how does it even relate to sort of top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel messaging that we oftentimes talk about as well in marketing?
Yeah, one of the biggest realizations I had, Micah, when I first started coaching consulting, well, even when I joined that wealth management firm, huge realization one day, I was like, as I dug into our own firm, I was like, we are amazing. I was like, you all are amazing. Like when I started realizing like what we did for people and just like how committed the people were and like the outcomes we got for people. But you want to know what came right off the heels of how amazing we were? I was like, and we don't tell anyone any of this.
Yeah.
I've not heard one of you. I was almost pissed. I was like, not one of you have told me this.
Yeah.
I've been here 6 months and I haven't heard. And they're all kind of like, yeah, we don't know how to say it. Like it's in us, but we don't. So I had this realization. And I firmly believe this. I've never met a company that talks about what they do in a way that's as powerful as what they actually do. I've seen some get close, but the vast majority, it's not even like it's a C apart. It's like when you look at what they actually do, the transformations, the impact, the difference they make, and you compare it to how they articulate it and talk about it in their marketing, their decks, it's like if we as companies aren't continually thinking about and trying with intention of like, how do we talk about what we do in a way that's as powerful as what we, I just don't think it gets enough attention. It's like it's an afterthought, oddly enough, when language creates. So it's like every time we speak, it's creating something. We ought to be putting a lot more thought into, are we actually talking about what we do in a way that is coming close to being as powerful as what it actually does? And if not, what are we doing? Right?
Yeah. Agreed. Because that's what's going to both stop the scroll, so to speak. And it's also the thing that when we're in an actual consultation, a sales conversation, if you will, that's going to be the competitive differentiator oftentimes of why somebody can work with us.
All things being equal, why would they choose us? Well, it's because we have a better story, a better message.
I want to go narrow for a quick moment because I believe in the power of everything you shared with us in terms of the identity, which leads into the messaging and the communication of that, right? Super powerful. I've seen it across a lot of different industries. I know that you work with wealth advisors. We have a lot of partners who are advisors, whether they're, M&A advisors, whether they are tax advisors, whether they're wealth advisors. Walk us through, once somebody gets clear on that, how do they take that message and amplify it? How do they actually have more opportunities, if I can put it that way? What are the things that you guys are seeing real time in September of 2025 that are really working once the brain clarity and the identity is established?
So I'll go simple first because that's where my mind likes to always try to think of like, it's amazing how much a business owner in any industry can grow their business by just taking advantage of better taking advantage of the opportunities that are already in front of them. Meaning, and I'm always a big fan of, I call it found money, Micah. Like what's the money that's already right here that we're just not finding? Like before we even go and bring in a new prospective client, a new strategic partner, who are the strategic partners or referral partners we already have, and who are the prospective clients that are already in front of us or existing clients?
Yep.
Like there's more opportunity, and we just haven't told them our best story yet. And you know what I always recommend you do? You literally set up meetings with all of them and you go and apologize to them. And at first they're like, why, it's like, hey, Micah, hey, can we talk in the next week? Can we meet? Sure. We sit down. Hey, Micah, I just want you to know, man, I owe you an apology. And most clients would be like, or referral partners would be like, you don't like, what do you owe an apology for? Like, we don't know. I was like, well, I actually do. I realize I've done you a disservice this whole time we've known each other and worked together. I've never fully articulated to you just quite who we are and just the power of what we do and the transformation it makes. And for that, like, I think I've left some opportunities on the table to serve you and serve your clients. So if it'd be okay, we've done a lot of intentional work recently on our story and our message. Can I just share that with you? Dude, you can like recreate an entirely new relationship. So you just start with the opportunities that are already right in front of you. We help companies grow all the time without doing anything crazy.
So leveraging the relationships and resetting the relationships with people who are partners in particular.
Recreate them. Even existing clients. You know how many financial advisors don't have every dollar of a client's assets?
Most.
Yeah, it's like, go get those. Start there. We had an advisor recently. I shared this on this very topic on training. He goes, you know, there's a client that comes to mind right now, Chris. I've got 1.3 million of their assets. This other client has over 2.6, double mine. And I don't think that other advisor's serving them as well as I am. I'm like, go get it. Go get the money. He's like, well, I wish it was that easy. I'm like, it is. I'm going to show you right now. It was on a group call, so everyone got to see this. We literally scripted out. He did the apology frame. Yep. He called him up and he goes, hey, I owe you an apology. They're like, you don't know us an apology. You're great. Like, well, yeah, I do. You know, this other advisor's had 2.6 million of your money for years. I've had 1.3. That's actually not the best scenario for you. Right now, you have 2 advisors. What you deserve is 1 leader. Neither one of us are able to be that leader for you. I want to be that leader, and I'm willing to sit down with you and show you why it should be me. But whether it's me or them, I'm going to make you make a decision by the end of that meeting. He gets on the next group's call. Dude, it worked. They're going to come in. Now what do I say? So we worked on that. Long story short, he got the 2.6. He doubled his AUM on just 1 client. But it's just like, it was just so simple.
I love it. I love it. So essentially, again, taking the messaging that we've talked about, which stems from the identity. So the identity is first, the messaging is second, and then communicating it to already established relationships, whether those are clients or partners. Any other thing you want to share with us real quickly before we close in terms of what's working today?
I mean, this could be its own episode, but so there's 3 things we always talk about when it comes to messaging. There's what you say, which is very important, the words, right? We want to put a lot of thought into what are we actually saying here? There's how you say it, which, you know, you're really good at this and you can tell you're a really great communicator. There's like intonation, pauses, inflection. There's how you say it. There's this third thing though, Micah, that no one ever talks about that I believe is more important than the what you say and the how you say it combined. Who you're being when you say it. Like, is who you're being when you say it convicted? Is it bold? Are you a leader? Because that communicates, man. And so like you combine those 3 things though, you put some intentionality in the thought into what you're saying from your identity, the how you're saying it, but man, the who I'm being when I say it is like, I'm convicted, I'm bold. You're a force of nature. People take notice of you. They're like, I have to do something with this person.
I love it. I love it. Chris, this has been an awesome conversation. Thank you so much
thanks for having me, man.
Time together. Hey, before we wrap, why don't you just give us a quick rundown? 1, where can folks connect with you if you're on social channels? And then 2, who does your firm do the best work with? And I know you're going to kill this because you just talked to us about identity and messaging. So for people who are listening and they're like, man, I would love to get this level of clarity with Chris and his team, how would they know whether they're the right fit to maybe work with you and your team?
Yeah. So how you would know you're the right fit for working with us is you recognize I am an already successful business owner, or we have an already successful business. And as good as things are going, I just cannot shake this feeling that I know that more is possible. And I just haven't quite been able to tap into it. Right. And so those are clients that always come to us. Is they have a great brand, a great culture, great story, great message. Like they're already doing things that are really great.
Yes.
And they just know that there's more that's possible. And they have a feeling that it's something around their identity, their story, their message. Like they've tried a lot of tactical things and those have been great, but there's like this unlocker that they're looking for. And then you can find me probably the best place on Instagram. My handle is I am Possibility, but we spell possibility PSBLTY. So I am PSBLTY. And the reason we spell it that way is because possibility always exists, but it's not spelled out for you. You have to have eyes to see it. You have to be looking for it. And if you're looking for it, you'll find it.
I love it.
So, man, thanks for having me on. Be honored to talk with anyone in your community and serve them any way we can.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. This has been a great conversation, and let's wrap.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for joining us on Legendary Exits. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you did, give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform, and be sure to subscribe to the show to stay connected with more stories of purpose-driven exits. You can find more information at legendaryexits.com. Until next time.